Now let's take a look at a common table expression. Now this is going to be very similar to what you've already seen happen with the temporary tables and what you're going to see in a later video on table variables. But understand that the strength of the common table expression is that we can recursively query on it, and we can do a little bit cooler things with it. But what I want to first help you get your head around is what this thing looks like and how it functions, and then you can build from there. So what I want to do is first show you, I've set part of this up so you don't have to watch me type endlessly here and hack around on this code, but I want you to see that we're going to create in one fell swoop, very neatly with the TransactSQL code, a common table expression, which is really more or less, think of it like a view that happens in memory, but we don't have to store the view out here in the database. So we're basically creating an in-memory view, if you will, called total sales, and it's going to have 3 columns. S person for salesperson, company, and total. And we're going to populate this common table expression with this join query right here. And notice we're pulling salesperson from the customer table, company name from the customer table, and the total due or the total order due from the sales order header table, and we're joining those on customer ID. And you can go look at the tables on your own to see what's going on here. But if I run these, I'll just run this select statement here and let you see kind of what I'm looking for. So I'm going to load this data right here into this common table expression. Then I want to do some grouping and some totaling on this to come up with, for example, every individual salesperson's total sales. And then, though, I want to see the maximum order that is involved in these totals. For Linda, I want to see what she sold totally, and I'm not doing a date restriction on this, so I'm just going to get all the data in my database, and I'll assume it's for a year or two. And I want to see how much Linda has sold totally. Then I want to see what her largest order was. Now, where's her largest order coming from? It is actually coming from the maximum total due here. You'll see that in just a second. So let's write a query here. Now notice I'm going to write a query as part of my structure here, and I'm going to select data from here. So what's happening when this common table expression runs, it's going to grab all of this data, load it into here. This query down here is going to select from here. I'm going to select the S person field, just like it comes back up here. Then on the company, I'm going to leave that alone for right now, and then I want to pull the sum of the total field, of this total field. Then I want to pull the max of the total field, and I'm going to do a alias column on that maxed field so I can tell what it is, and that is the largest order for that person from, and notice I'm going to pull this from my total sales CTE. And then notice now I'm going to have to do a group by here because I'm getting one value on every row for these two because these are going to aggregate those up into sums and maximums, and I'm going to have to somehow aggregate this, and what I want to do is group by S person. And I want to do an order by as well. I want to order by the total, and I want to do it descending so I see the largest grand total on the top. We're ready to go. Let's see if I've entered it correctly. So what I'll do is highlight this entire thing, and this is going to create total sales, and this is going to select from total sales. So I'm gathering my data here into this result set, and then I'm going to use this to select from this result set to give me my ultimate end result that I want. So I'll highlight all of that and execute. Let's see. This is a good error for you to see. Notice I'm saying order by this, but I didn't give this a name, so it can't tell what I'm wanting. That's a good error to leave in there so you can see. Those kinds will drive you nuts and take an entire afternoon of your life. Now when I run it, it can see total. Hope that made sense to you. That's actually kind of fortuitous that you could see an error like that. Not that I make those very often, of course, but notice what I've got now. What I have achieved here is I gathered all this information together in total sales, and then I used total sales to do a sum, and so I can see from this that JAE has sold now $572,496, and her largest order was $119,960. Linda has come in second, just a little over $230,000, and there's her largest order, and then SHU has done this. I don't know if that's SHU or SHU, but I can see this data. Now, what's really cool about CTEs is I could also now, I could do a join here on total sales to something else, and I could reach back out into some of my other tables and do joins, or I could recursively call data from total sales. So this is a very simple example. Run this through a few times, get comfortable with it, make sure that it makes sense what you're doing and how you're using this guy, and then go out there into Books Online and look at some other examples of recursively calling these things and doing some more stuff with them. There's a lot of power here, and so just kind of dig into CTEs a little bit at a time and kind of own them, let them make sense, and you can get a lot of cool development things going on using common table expressions.